Hello, everyone. How's it going? Hi, lovely. Thank you so much for tuning in live. Hello, hello. Okay, got it. I will dive into your question as soon as possible. Okay, let me just see what we all got on the menu for today, and then I will jump right in. Okay, so live Q&A is pinned. Here is my post, and we have. Okay. And just closing other tabs. So I'm with you. Okay. Hey, how's it going? Hey, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the community. Thank you. All right, so we do have an official post. So first of you can share your question, just comment it on YouTube, or in Grow with Evelyn, we do have this official post before the Q&A, which is in here in the live Q&A, and this is where you can submit your questions for the next session. I'm going to turn on the comments here and just also going to pin this so you have it right at the top. All right, so Melanie, I don't see your question here. You might need to drop it again. Oh, thank you. All right, so let me just dive into the first question. While Melanie is submitting, I will just answer the first one here on my list from Sophie. Okay, my current situation is I just started a school. I have 350 members in my free group. Congratulations. I want to get at least 8 qualified clients for a one-to-one on my calendar each week to enroll into my high-ticket 6K flagship program. I'm not booking calls yet. Don't know how to position these free calls and further how to qualify leads so I only get ideal clients on the phone. My question is how and when during the onboarding process or otherwise to encourage ideal clients who will want to invest in themselves to book a one-to-one call with me? That's a great question. So what I like to do for the calls is that I actually like to put a paid call into my community, right? So I do have a high ticket. The way I best sell it is to have a paid call first, and from there I upgrade about 50% into my mastermind. This is what I really love to do. I do still free discovery calls when somebody specifically asks for it, but when I want to have an enrollment push, I will just offer my ad strategy session. So I will let my email list know that I'm accepting sessions. So let me just show you what this looks like, the sign up page, right? So ad strategy session, 1 hour, 30 minutes. It's $333. I have them directly check out through Calendly, and then they can book their session with me. Don't book, it's not open right now. So whenever I want to enroll more people into my mastermind, I'll typically go out with this paid session. It's a great qualifier. And like I said, from here, typically 50% upgrade into my mastermind. That's also true because I do have, the existing email list, and it sounds like you're building it. Now, in the onboarding process, and this is why, I really love to have the paid calls, is because it helps you with the lead quality. In your community, what you would want to add is a paid call. So I put this on draft right now because I got too many calls booked. But basically, this was a 97 first 33, then $97 call. And what you can do is you can add this paid call to your community, and then new people that join, you want to send them a personalized loom and say, hey, welcome to the community. I quickly wanted to say hi and let you know how to get the most out of it. Before I dive into that, I wanted to let you know we do have the option to book a paid call in the community. This is and in here it's a clarity call. Here it's an ad strategy session. So you want to really find a theme for your call, right? So what's the specific problem that we're going to solve so that it's not a discovery call or, a sales call. You actually want to do some work with them. And then that also, takes off the fear of just being sold. So you want to actually do something with them that you would do on a paid call to solve a specific problem that they have. You want to let them know this is in there. If you need help with that, you can book it. For all new members, I'm giving the opportunity to get this, and then I would play with different versions and see what converts better, to get this for 50% off, to get this for free if they book within the first 72 hours, right? So you can play with different options of turning that paid call in the community into an offer, right? And then it will be framed differently, and it will be a real deal to get that, and with that you get the urgency needed up. But because it's also framed as a paid call, you do get a higher quality lead, because they understand that it's not just free, and they will value your time more. So that's what I would do right away in the onboard. Have it in the classroom, make sure it's themed, make sure it has a specific outcome. What I like to do is I like to really productize those sessions. Let me give you an example from the ad strategy. So this is what these look like for me. I have this dashboard where I give them the session recording right away. Then I take an inventory, and then I map out the funnel options that they have. Then I create the actual copy with them and the creatives, and then they get 2 reviews, right? And so for me, it's quite easy to sell them these sessions when I just explain this is exactly how the session works, because the session is basically fully productized through. So that's kind of how you want to think about it as well. Productizing the session, theming it as much as possible. And I do have a planner for that. So this is the themed session planner. And that's what you would basically want to map out. That's what I would do to get the highest quality leads and not, waste my time too much just on free calls. Okay, I got your question, Melanie. I will find this here. So if what I just said resonated with you and you're like, I need a themed session, then go for the planner. It will help you to completely map it out. Okay, so that's my recommendation for you. Now let me dive into Melanie's question. Okay. I'm answering around the 8-minute mark. Okay, so free PCOS Health Collective booking page application. I'm getting a lot of applications, very detailed ones. So these leads are hot, but my office manager is having a hard time connecting with them after submission. They ghost. Thoughts. These people coming from the ads, so probably higher off the funnel than my regular main website, more organic. Is there a pre-part to this question? Coming from ads, so probably higher off the funnel than my regular. Okay, let me see if you also share the question here. No. Okay. She noticed a big difference in returns from people reaching out organically from the website. And then what should we be doing on the booking page for conversions? Wondering what it's like to work with me before you book your visit. So you're running ads to this, and when your assistant follows up with them, they're not as responsive. Am I understanding this right? How quickly does she connect with them? Because the leads from the ads, they cool off faster. These people just have higher intent because they also went through more hoops. Virtual. And you also seem to have different messaging on both of them. Okay, so here I can directly select the service. I know exactly how much it is. Versus here, it's more generic, right? Is this where the organic leads come from? From the page? Yeah. So it does make sense that if I have more information and I can select specifically what I'm looking for, that I'd be more responsive because there's not a lot of unexpected things. I'm wondering why we're sending them through two different funnels. Let me just see if there's feedback on this. Well, that's what the ad tracking is for, right? So you can send people through the same funnel as you do with your organic people. You want to install the Facebook pixel and ideally conversion API. And although the ads will get the data from all the leads, which is a good thing because they can optimize faster, they will only attribute to your campaign if the person was actually coming from the ad. So it's not necessary to have two different funnels to when measuring ads versus organic, because you can still measure your ad results based on the attribution. Plus, if you really want it, super, super clean, then you can still send them through the exact same funnel. You could just duplicate your homepage funnel to see where are they opting in from, although I don't think it's necessary. PCS Have Collective website is new, so only traffic is ad to track conversions. My clinic calendar can't track. Okay, can we build something very similar to this, where they have where they can select something and they have more information? To me, it makes complete sense that, here I got exactly what I'm looking for. First, if I went to the page, right, I probably come from Google, so I'm already searching, right? So I'm having a need. I'm in that stage of the buying cycle where I'm in the search phase, versus people from the ad, they are getting disturbed while they scroll, and then they're like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then if now somebody doesn't follow up quickly with them, or if they now feel like, oh, I don't know what I got myself into, then they back out, right? So it's first of the traffic source is different, and then the expectations that you've set are also different. So I would try to give them, much more clarity. And naturally, you will have a different lead quality depending on the traffic source too. Maybe we can rebuild this more, and I would I would wonder if we can, just not get more traffic to your website with Google Ads potentially. So just keep staying in that high quality traffic source and potentially run ads from Google to this page as well, if it's leading to two distinctively different services, which I'm not able to identify from the pages here. But like I said, for tracking purposes, you don't have to keep them separately. And, there's ways to redirect them potentially from this to a custom thank you page where you can still track. Unless that's a legal thing and you're not allowed to do that, which I'm not sure. Retargeting ads is a completely different topic to this, but you could potentially run retargeting ads to everybody who has visited your homepage. That's a possibility depending on how many website visitors you have. With a small budget, that makes sense regardless. But I think the key, I think this is a question ideally for a video feedback. If you can run me through the exact differences in the funnel, what are you trying to achieve with each? What do the ads for each really look like, right? What do the exact stats for all of them look like? Then we can strategize around, okay, how do we best optimize this funnel? So that would be a great one for a video feedback submission. Okay. And the retargeting would basically just be all of your website visitors, all of your ad engagers, leading back to that book a call page, but maybe a simplified one where it's quicker. But I would really love to see the ad, so I have, and all of the different details, so we can make a more sophisticated hypothesis about this. Okay. The form to submit your question, if you want more detailed feedback, so I can also review things, would be here in the start here, and then you get personalized guidance here in the video feedback submission form. So it's in the first course in step 5. This is where you can find it. This is great. Never thought of this. Would you offer this in the welcome video? Yeah, I would offer this right away in the welcome video, and I would send them a personalized welcome video. You can either automate that with Zoom, but I personally find it more effective when you just really do it for that person, like a very, very quick Loom, which is you can do so easily. So that's what I would love for you to try. Where's the themed session plan? I haven't seen it yet, so I just shared it under this post. When you come back here in the community, I shared it here. Yeah, it's a Q&A call, so that's why. So ideally, this is a question for a video feedback. Awesome, thank you so much. Right, because I would need to review your data to better help you with this. All right, so let's get the next question around the 17-minute mark from Carolina. Current situation is I'm starting a newsletter, 100 members, congratulations, trying to build a habit to create a side business online. My desired situation is to be fully independent and slowly transition from employee to entrepreneur, mostly community or content led. Okay, my problem is I find it hard to shift my mindset towards spending to consume as a client to spending to invest as an entrepreneur. No clear return or longer return on investment. My question is, what did you do to build the mindset to invest in your business? What budget would you say is necessary to invest before you can break even? In which domain would you invest? For example, 200 euros in ads, 100 euros in XYZ. Okay, that's such a good question. So I think I had a massive advantage when I started because first off, I was running ads as an employee. So I was learning on other people's money and I would see them working. So I came in with this belief that ads are a huge opportunity and that they are an investment in your business. So I've had seen this and created this many times for others before I even did this for myself. Still, the way that I actually got self-employed eventually was while I was working in a business, I saw an opportunity with one of our clients that I brought to my boss, and he didn't want to hear me out. So I found an investor that would start the project with me. It took off from 0 to 12 million in 9 months. And eventually I had to quit my job because that was going so fast, right? And I was making so much money. So I had to quit my job to go all in. That opportunity, unfortunately, shut down really quickly because it was a short lived arbitrage opportunity. But it did have a little bit of a cushion. And at this point, I also was running ads for others, etc. Right? So I basically did transition over like a few years through multiple entrepreneurial ventures. When I started to build my personal brand, at that time I was running an agency and freelance business. So I would build websites and funnels and run ads for others. And what I would do is I would put as much budget as I could from there into building my list and personal brand. And the way that I started out is exactly what you find here in the classroom is the list building, right? So I started to build my email list and simultaneously back then my Facebook group at the same time. And by the end of my first month, I had grown it to 1,000 members and I was selling my first beta program. I was basically able to get 10 people signed up, one backed out at $997 for a 3 months. Basically, it was half service, half coaching, where I would just help them to get their system set up. So it was a hybrid between a service and a coaching offer. So I was once, I knew that I want to go all in on my personal brand, which just took me way too long because I was so scared. And I thought, all of those stories, like, what will others think? Who do I think I am to be able to do this? There are people like Russell Brunson doing funnels, like, who am I to even talk about this? But once I was set on, this is actually what I want to do, I moved relatively quickly. And I was happy to invest my budget into building an audience because I had just seen it working out enough times for my clients that I knew there is a way to make it work. Now, what I would recommend is that you don't want to keep buying things, right? You want to decide on one opportunity, and really all of these opportunities can work for you if you work them, right? Decide on one opportunity. Give yourself, I would say half a year. You're only learning this. You're not buying a new course. You're not consuming content from different mentors. You're just really trying to work whichever system you have committed yourself to. And in the capacity that I'm like, here's other dumb decisions that I make, or here is things that I could save on or that I could do extra to get some budget, I would reinvest that in ads to grow my audience. And like I told you, I invested in the first month about $1,500 into building my audience. But that allowed me to do it relatively quickly, and I was pretty confident in what I was doing, just because I had seen it from others enough times that I was like, I know how this works. I know how this works for my clients. I could have also done it not as aggressively, but I did like the momentum that it gave me. So for this new community that I built now from scratch, where you can see the video here on my YouTube channel, I spent in the first month. So here, if you watch this video, I spent around $700 to build my audience, and that gave me enough momentum to turn it paid. And now it's 1.5 months. And now you can see it's at 1,700, right? But I'm running the ads to this directly, and I'm still in break-even mode. So when you look at my ads tracker, I haven't taken anything out yet, right? In a sense of it's profitable, as in I have taken money home. But here you can see, so I've made a profit of $74. But the cool thing is that with this ads tracker that you also have in Grow with Evelyn, by the way, you can see the total revenue, the total ad spend, but you can also see your average revenue per subscriber and your projected customer lifetime value, and with that, your projected total profit from that. So although, right now I'm only having $73, I know based on the churn rate that I currently have, what projected profit I will have over time. And this is what, makes it easy for me to keep reinvesting, because I can forecast what it will do for me. So I really like to look at numbers in this way. So if you haven't checked it out yet, just type in here ad tracker, or I've also added it here to the course. So School Ad Profitability Tracker. And this is how you want to look in general at investing in your ads. So I would say invest in ads, in building your audience. And even if you just invest time in building your audience, right? Just like ads work to build your audience, there's a million other things that work to build your audience. A lot of people just do YouTube or just do short form content, right? But commit to one thing, really learning it, and commit to one opportunity. Ideally, the first business that we want to do is high cash flow. So you want to do some sort of online education, online service, online coaching, just because you don't have any cost of good. And with that, you're quicker to cash flow. Okay, so that's how I would think about this, and how I would think about investing and your mindset around it. I missed where I find the session planner. All right, so I just tagged it below your question, love. So when you come in here, right at the top, here I've tagged it. Let me also add this. So themed session planner. When you guys search for it in the community now, it should come up. All right, so the next question, or let me see, there was one more, I think, here in the chat. Just made around 7K in cash collected with your free live workshop strategy. Whoa, super. I love that. I have two questions. What's the best time to run the workshop, both European and US public? What has been the best time for me to run it is either later in the night, so around 8 to 10 p.m. CET, or early in the morning around 8 a.m. CET. That was the best one. And congratulations. I love this. All right. So next question, we're answering around the 26-minute mark. Shayna. Current situation, running ads for low ticket products. Desired situation, scale my ads both in terms of budget and by finding new winning creatives. Question, can you recommend a process or prompt for coming up with new video creatives? I know you mainly use images yourself, but for me, video ads consistently outperform still images. Yeah, that's an excellent question. So when you're looking at video creatives, right, you really want to think of it as a funnel in itself, right? So we can break down our video stats and we can basically see the 3 second through views, right? The through plays, and then how many people have watched 25, 50, 75, 95% of your video. And so you want to first fix the hook, right? So people, just like we optimize our ads and our funnel front to back, we want to optimize our creative front to back. So you want to look at your winning creative and you want to say, okay, what is my benchmark for the percentage of the through play? And what is my benchmark for the cost per 3 second play? Okay, my goal is to make hooks that outperform my current benchmark. What is my hypothesis based on the best one that I have? Can I, improve the hook by adding a visual hook? And visual hook is almost more important than the verbal hook, than the sound hook, right? So is there something I can wear? Is there an environment that I can be in? Is there a zoom effect, something that I can do to grab people's attention, right? So that's the first problem that we're trying to solve with our with our new creatives is, okay, how can I make hooks that get even better stats there, right? And then just focusing on hooks first and creating a ton to try to outperform your benchmark, and then the body of your ad can still be the same, right? So we see how it affects conversions. And then once you have proven hooks, you want to focus on the bodies, right? So how can I quickly now transition from having their attention to explaining what the offer is about to front loading the experience of purchasing and consuming the offer so that I get the highest conversion rate possible, right? So you want to think of hook versus body and final CTA. And typically with video creatives, you want to think of everything that would perform well as an organic piece of short form content often also performs well as an ad, right? So think of it as like a viral reel or short with a call to action at the end. And that's how you want to think about it. The way to find this would be to look at viral pieces of short form content and ask yourself, how could I recreate this for my offer, right? How could I use, and the way to find this, right, is you look at creators and you look at, okay, which videos you want to in general look at creators that get hundreds of thousands of views on their videos, right? Because they're doing something right. And then you want to say, okay, out of those, which ones are even outliners for them, and then try to learn from those hooks. That would be the first step, is like make hypothesis about what hooks can you use that you can tie back to your offers. And then you want to say, okay, based on my body and how it's performing, how can I optimize this to convert even better? So you want to look at the body of your ad and you want to make a hypothesis and say, okay, this is why I believe it converts. The winner converts better than this, right? This is why I believe this converts worse. Okay, how can I do more of what converted better? And that's how you optimize it over time. So don't just randomly shoot in the dark. Try to look at your winning creative from different angles, from conversion as well as from volume that it can drive, and from how quickly it can hook people in, and then replicate what is working and try to outperform the current benchmark. That's what we want to do. And for the testing, I do love to now test a lot of different concepts in one ASC campaign just completely broad targeting, and then you'll have a winner emerging relatively quickly. If you guys remember the balloon test ads, right, where you will see one that has the highest spend with the comparatively lowest cost, right, but it spends the most, that is your winner. Because if it doesn't spend, it won't scale. And this is definitely something, because Shen is in the mastermind as well, that we can discuss in even more detail there. All right, so yeah, this is the one. Okay, Molly, answering around the 31-minute mark. All right, my current situation is that I ran ads to my membership promoting Camp Homeschool Hero at $5 per month. My desired situation is to know if I should keep running them. My problem is I ran the ads for 3 days at $15 and only one person joined. Not sure if it's worth it or what needs to be adjusted. My question is, how do these numbers look? I spent $53, tested 2 different images, one sale, 32 on that ad that converted. Cost per click, CTR. Okay, so this one did get the most spend here. Mockup fun. Definitely had a lot of clicks. You had a healthy cost per click on this one here. Healthy CTRs too. So your problem, my love, is the about page. The about page did not convert well. The ads are performing decently. So I think what the next step that I would try is to create a video on the about page that sells Camp Homeschool Hero, right? So have a video sales letter there. Sorry, need to share my screen. So this is what we just went through, right? So we do have higher reach on the mockup fun. And we did get very healthy cost per click on this one here, and the CTR meeting the benchmarks, right? So slightly above benchmark here and here on benchmark. So the ads are not killer, but they're also doing their job. But now here you can see you got 30 clicks here. And then you only got one sign up for it at $5. So I would look at the about page to increase the conversion rate. And one quick win that you can do is to create a video sales letter here for the about page. And the good thing is we can then, so here you have the video sales letter training, right? And the good thing is that we can run the video sales letter as your next ad to see if we can get the cost per purchase down even further. And what you want to do is you want to basically turn off the ad that didn't produce the purchase and that had the higher cost per click. I would give the other one 48 hours more. If it produces another purchase, I would let it run. If it doesn't produce another purchase, I would turn it off, and I would next try the video sales letter. All right, so now let me see the questions here. Sorry, I hadn't seen your question. Oh yeah, okay. So I think now you should have access. Let me dive into the next question that we have here. At the 34-minute mark. Okay. So my current situation is I have a good welcome email open rate for my self-assessment freebie, but low click-through rate and even less engagement rate for those taking the assessment. Here's the self-assessment below. Yeah, there might be more engaging ways to break it down. My desired situation is to get more people to click on the freebie and take the assessment. Problem, and I'm unable to tell where the drop off in interest is between opting in and taking the self assessment. So, one thing is that it's very normal for people to not consume the freebies that they're opting in for. Let me just benchmark this with my freebie so we get an idea. And I also wonder, is this the thing that we can work on that will make the biggest difference in your business? It's probably not. It's probably not where we should be spending our time. So that's just, in general, I would love to just say that. And now let me see from my tangible freebie. Okay, let's take, for example, the school dashboard. We had 55% opening, 24% clicking. So, you know, it's a little bit better than in your case, but it's also not associated with work, right, for them. So only 24% of people that opted in for the school dashboard actually downloaded it. So I believe that you are not, scarily without outside of the benchmark there. And again, I'm wondering if focusing on getting more people to take the assessment is really what moves the needle. I believe that focusing on making emails that are really nurturing, including videos there, making offers for different themed sessions, saying, things that really move them in the emails and in your videos, and then having sales promotions and live workshops, I believe that that will make a much bigger difference. So to me, you're not massively off benchmark, especially for something that requires work, like a self assessment. And I do not believe that working on this will massively help you to, make sales ultimately and grow your business. So that's why I wouldn't necessarily focus on it. I created a quick self assessment. Also, people would not necessarily understand this as quick. We, you have to understand, like, we're in the dopamine hit generation. People will be like seeing this and be like, I don't know if that's quick. I do this later. Okay. So, but that's okay, right? Even those people that don't download my school ads dashboard will eventually, or quite a few of them will eventually become clients. It's just that they had, this shiny object. They were like, oh, I want to do this. And then they were like, oh, yeah, I do this later. And then they forgot about it. It's just important that you create the right filter so you can reach and start to build a relationship. And that's much more important. If you want to get more people to do it, right, and that's really a priority for you for whichever reason, then what I would do is I would first off simplify it. I would break this down into separate steps so they're not like landing on this page and it feel overwhelmed. And then I would include a video that is like welcoming them, high excitement, quick story, how, your journey and why this is so important. And then click on the link. It's super fast. And here's what happens. You get these stats after, and with these stats, you can reach, XYZ outcome. So you just further relieve creative burden and you create a sense of excitement and motivation for them to do it, if that is really your priority. I think it could be great to create an additional touch point, but again, I also don't think that it's potentially the most impactful thing to be working on in your business right now. Okay, perfect. Next up here, let me see if we have another question here, and then I'm going to answer the ones that came in under the live post. Okay, so this one I'm answering on the 39-minute mark. And then I'll turn it off here so we're not all over the place. Okay, so Jordan, my current situation is my school group is getting lots of clicks, 150 in the last 7 days, but no conversions. People are landing from my ads and also from my email list. My desired situation is to improve conversions. My problem is I have adjusted my about page copy several times, but I'm struggling to land on something that sticks. My question is it just my landing page or is my offer too expensive at the moment for 17 per month? I don't think that that's too expensive. If we're hitting the offer right, could I run ads to get people in for free. You could try a free trial. For teen males to gain confidence, achieve personal success, and build connections with like-minded teens. Okay, so that took way too long to get to get started. We need to analyze the stats from this. Okay, so we're talking to parents. Okay, so I believe that you can use ads to really validate the angle for your offer and for your community. And I believe that it's not quite there right now. It's rather descriptive, right? And somebody would need to watch the whole video sales letter through to fully understand what is the benefit. Right now, here we are again. They have more potential to give, but get stuck doubting themselves, lost in screen time, low motivation, feeling like no one understands them. They need a real tools for goals, confidence. Yeah, I would try to build it around one idea. I know from our workshop ads that reducing screen time was something that worked. So I would love if we can make, we have a positioning problem, and with the positioning problem we have a messaging problem for the community, and I think that's what you see. So there's no bold idea behind the positioning that is immediately visible, right? So people make no effort in understanding what you try to be for them. So it needs to be extremely obvious, and it needs to be very easy to understand. And ideally, we can front load it on the ad and confirm it on the landing page. It is almost like if you're thinking of a YouTube video, right? You have that intro, and then not the intro, you have the thumbnail and the title, and the intro needs to immediately confirm. It's very similar with an ad, right? So the ad is your thumbnail, the description and the headline are like your title, and when people click, they immediately need to be confirmed in what they see, right? And the ad needs to be really bold. So I think what would make a ton of sense for us is to look at our ads, analyze our ad stats, and then make a hypothesis of how can we position your community already on the ad, test different angles against each other. And I just want to show you how I'm doing this, right? Because that might make it easier for you guys to understand. Okay, 1 second. Just need to log in. Okay, so here is how I'm using ads to find the angle for my community that works. So let me go back, maybe just the last 7 days here. Okay, so for example, I created inside this new community a new course offer, right? So this is something that I keep preaching to you guys. Stop just adding content to your community. Conceptualize them as standalone offers, right? So just like what I did here with this live workshop, I conceptualized it as a standalone offer. Let me also pull up the ads library with this. So here you can see, right, I'm advertising the community directly, but I'm also advertising what's inside the community, right? So those are different ways to position it. And because this is more closely tied to the landing page, it converts better, right? But this is still converting profitable. Now, I try to repeat this so I can grow faster. And now this is how I'm finding how I need to position the offer. Well, first off, we want to sort it by amount spent, right? Because a winning creative gets spent, right? It's not just the cost. So if people, unfortunately, they look at it like this ad is getting $17, 17 euro cost per purchase. So obviously this ad performs better than this ad. No, that's not true because it doesn't get a lot of spend. So while it specifically appealed well to this audience, it's comparatively to this a tiny audience, right? So let's see here. The preview of this ad. Become the most willpowered person you know using ChatGPT. There seems to be a small engaged audience around people that are like, I want to be the most will strong person I know, versus which is our actual winning ad because it got much more spent, which is turn ChatGPT into your discipline coach. Obviously, there are many more people that want to have a discipline coach than people that want to become the most willpowered person they know. I didn't know that, right? But now that I'm looking at the stats, I'm like, duh, that makes sense, right? But this is how I'm finding out how I need to position my offer, right? And so I was running even more ads here. Let me just see the second ones. So I also tried these, right? Where I was not adding the price. So here you can see that the one that got the purchase here, this was the broadest appealing angle. This plus ChatGPT will make you ultra disciplined for $7. And then the one that actually got the conversion was this one here. Use ChatGPT to build someone you're proud of in record time. Okay, so the reason why I'm showing you this is we want to do the same for your community. We want to go in and we want to make all of this hypothesis of how can you position your community, right? So is it about what they are becoming, for example, become the most willpowered person, become, help your teen become ultra resilient, help your teen become confident and resilient, or is it get the confidence and resilience coach for your team, right? So you want to think of different ways to position your offer, validate it with the ads by seeing, okay, what is spending the most amount, and then see if it converts as well, right? So first we want to see, okay, what spends the most, that is the right direction. And then if we can add conversion on top of it, then we start to have a winner. Then we can start to pull that onto the landing page, and then we can craft our video sales letter specifically for that. But that's how you find it, right? And so this is the problem that we need to solve for your community, to figure out like what is that messaging, what is that positioning specifically that we need to aim for. All right, so next up here we have Joanne, and I am catching your question now in the 49-minute mark. Okay, so let me just unpin this one and say, okay. I just started my free school community. I'm also in Experience Worker Bootcamp and Grow with Evelyn. You've seen my sales page before. I help women. Yes, I know. Okay, got it. With GLP-1 medications have sustainable weight loss by teaching them nutrition and how to work out. I'm wondering if it would work with what my end goal is, which has always been to evergreen a low ticket course as well as sell low ticket offers. possibly group coaching quarterly. I have my entire course uploaded onto Skool. I find myself spending a lot of time coaching and helping people in the group every day and posting daily so they stay engaged. I'm worried that this may turn into one-to-one coaching, which I was trying to get away from because of time constraints. Um, Let me just see if I can check your community. Honestly, I would auto approve them, but I can see this here. July challenge is here. Welcome new members, mindset. We have recipes, motivation. Okay, how are people purchasing these? Let me know how they're doing with this. I believe. Hmm. I don't know enough about the niche to properly see how we could approach this. I'm thinking of turning the community paid, but we would first need to look into how the ads to the free community are performing. I wouldn't be at this stage, I wouldn't be worried too much about one to one coaching because you can do things like setting gentle boundaries in a sense of, giving a quick response in the community and letting them know. And by the way, this is something I can totally help you, or that's something that's covered in detail here in the course. So I think it would be totally for you. And then maybe DM them a discount code or something like that. Um, Potentially, I would take out the one to one session if you don't want to do this. That's what I've done in the AI identity alchemy. I just took it out now because it was getting booked too much, right? So when people have the option, and if you do a good job, they will always seek more proximity to you. So you could just take that out as an offer in there. And I would love to see how ads to it perform to see could this be a low ticket group, right? So you basically have the one to many on a recurring basis. Let me know how they're converting. Okay, no one is purchasing the one to one. Since you're also concerned about one to one, I would potentially take it out. What I would do if I was in your shoes. And did anybody purchase any of the other products? Did anything convert at all just yet? For my new Skool community, I got cost per registration for average one euro 33. That was also very good. Like typically, really good cost per registration. I see between 250 to 350. I was just getting extremely good cost per registration because I think my offer was right. So it comes down to how you position the group and to your offer and obviously your niche, your market. So that's what I would do. If I want to upsell a service like audit your funnels, ads one to one, fix it with your $300 hour. I think there was a part cut off by the question, but to answer this question here, my benchmark is 133. Typically good is up to 350, I would say, cost per registration. Joanne, I think what we need to try is to again see how would ads to your community perform. Is it something that we can turn paid and then unlock, certain of these things with annual? And if you're concerned about the one-to-one coaching, just take it out. Don't offer it, right? Yeah, there's no urgency around it. So I would try to, you want to build the free group for momentum and for having engagement in there, and then you want to ideally turn it paid. That's my personal opinion, right? Unless you're using it like you know our other member, unless you're using it to upsell into some sort of high ticket course or one-to-one service. I wouldn't keep it for free, right? Because in this case it's a lead generation group. In your case, ideally we want to turn it into a buyers group from where we upsell. So I would try next to really find the right positioning for this community and see if I can turn it into a paid offer. And then you can do things like, pulling offers like this one out. Let me see, where's your community now? So, for example, the meal plan, right, is highly attractive. So you can then just say, hey, and I think this also sold in your funnel, as much as I can remember. Um, So you can say, hey, get this weekly meal plan for GLP-1 specifically for $20, or get it for free in my $7 community, in my $9 community, right? So then you can work with option offers based on what you put in the paid community. So I think I would focus on that if I was in your shoes, especially if I'm concerned about one-to-one. So if we get around $1.50 lead for a free group, you turn it paid into a paid community for a $7 membership. That was my personal plan, yes, because I wanted to have a really scalable container, and I don't want to increase the price for it because I want to keep it low pressure. I don't want to, do Q&As or video feedback or anything because I already have kind of this commitment here. That's why I keep it at such low cost. Yeah, so if you're getting really low cost per lead, then you understand, okay, I'm onto something that I can potentially turn paid. But obviously, you have to test it out. Okay, perfect. Let me just see if I have it on my video feedback submission. Mm, I'm just quickly checking your email. Oh, yeah, I have this. You should get it later today or tomorrow morning. Let me just see how long it is. Maybe we can quickly catch it on the call. Okay. It's just a short one. Okay, so here's what we see. Okay, we didn't have any complete pre-registrations. Did you set up the conversion API 100%? So are you sure that this was integrated? Just double checking. Oh, because you did spend a lot. Yeah, because you had a really good cost per link click, and I can't imagine that out of the 98 link clicks, nobody signed up. So I think you might have not set up the conversion API properly. At least there might be an issue with it reporting, because I can't imagine that, out of 98 people, nobody joined the community. Overall, you do have an underperforming visual and a very well performing copy. You want to call them out above the fold right away. Lasting result on GPO1. So this, we can still optimize it a little bit. I don't think we necessarily need the school. I think that this one we also would want to fill in And here we want to give the actual name of your school. We want to make sure that these don't get cut off. So I do believe we still have a little room on the visual here to get it down, but the biggest concern here is that we're not tracking any conversions, so we need to double check if your conversion API is set up correctly. Okay, please double check it, and there might be an issue with it. Did you have members joining where you didn't know where they were coming from, or was also nothing moving in the membership? Please let me know. I like to test in really small increments, so I will start with something like $15 a day, and I will let it run for 48 to maximum 72 hours. So, around $35, $50. Okay, next question I'm answering around the 1 hour, 1 minute mark. And there we have MIM. That is for up to 3 creatives for maximum 3 days. But typically, after 24 to 48 hours. Okay, so one of my memberships is a low ticket with 1,400 members. Congratulations, really cool. And I'm considering adding a mini tier to it. I'm unsure what content from the main membership to add it, and that will still be helpful, valuable, appealing on its own and not cannibalize the current. The deliverables are new monthly tutorials, tutorial library, new monthly templates, a Facebook community, and some smaller deliverables. Have you added a mini tier to an existing membership before rather than adding a higher tier to a mini one? And how did you decide what to include? So what I would love for you to do is first build a self-liquidating offer funnel before you create a mini. So what's the difference, right? The self-liquidating offer is just a one-time offer. So let me show you a recent one that we added in front of an existing membership. So we have our PLR membership, right, which is $27 a month. And so we recently just added a front end offer to it to be able to scale a little bit more aggressively. And that's a $9 front end offer that upsells into the PLR membership, right? And so, what I would recommend is you first focus before you commit to a membership, you focus on finding a winning front end offer. You'll have a similar growth effect, right? And you can still decide if you want to then break that out into a separate offer, right? So, in fact, we did add mini memberships to this. We did have 4 mini memberships that we eventually included in here, which are the Coach Tool Vault, the Coloring Book Vault. So these are just coaching worksheets and coaching tools. Then we did add another mini, which is the Coloring Book Vault. And then we did add another one that's the ebook vault. Oh, no, I can't log in. Right, so these are just the coloring books, and then we have the ebook. So all of those were minis added to an existing membership. And here's the thing. We should at first test it out which one is actually working best as a self-liquidating offer, and then commit to doing that as the mini membership, right? If we wanted to get it to that point. But it's much easier to make a one-time purchase offer convert. The growth impact on your membership is almost similar, but you have no cannibalization and you have much less additional effort. So if you have already a membership that's working, I'd not ideally add a mini as the first starting point. I'd just go for a one-time self-liquidating offer. Because we eventually stopped selling them, right? Because they were not converting as well, which was why they would not upsell as well, but they added a lot of monthly commitment and overhead. So we're still producing it now as part of our regular membership, but it's cost and effort that we now encounter that we would have not necessarily needed to burden our business with. Yeah, so do more SLOs. Really focus on SLOs and make it a goal. You crank out one new self-liquidating offer per month. Everything you add to the membership, the tutorials, etc., conceptualize it as standalone offers. That will give you the best. I regret starting with a mini there right away. We should have done more self-liquidating offer until we know what really converts, and then do a membership specifically for that. So here's the thing with canceling members and the downsell. When you can reactivate them, you often reactivate them for a full cycle, but they really need to understand it as a new opportunity. And a mini, they typically don't see enough of a new opportunity for you to really rescue a ton of monthly recurring revenue. Tell you one thing that I've seen others doing where I'm like debating if that ever would make sense for me, but others are offering canceling members a lifetime deal for the content, right? So there's no community, but they can get lifetime access to, for example, the content. And that's really cool because when people cancel memberships, they often have the sunk cost, right? So I actually paid for 6 months and now I never did something with it. And now I don't have access to it anymore, but I also don't want to keep paying because I don't have time. So I might join later. Offer them at a discount just lifetime access to what's currently in the membership as a course and make that an exclusive offer. You get much more customer lifetime value than if you're downselling to a mini, right? And it is a really new opportunity for them. What kind of lead magnet would you generally recommend? PDF, video, or only PDF? So I always advocate for one product character lead magnets. The containers that I love to use are cards, affirmation cards, journal prompt cards, conversation cards, coaching cards, skill cards, cheat sheets of all sorts, checklists, templates, scripts, planners, trackers, mini journals, processes. So you kind of want to have one pager character with it. That's a really, really good container. And then you have this known container name where a person knows what a planner is, a person knows what a tracker is, and you have one additional name to qualify it, right? Like GLP-1 um, mood tracker, right? Or GLP-1 cravings tracker, right? So like it should be really, really easy for people to immediately understand what they get. And it should have the character of a simple digital product. Okay. Other lead magnets that I like to use are actual workshops. They are much more nurturing and they can convert extremely well because you very quickly increase the minutes spent with you. But you will need to have a really good topic so you get to similar low cost per lead like you do with a tangible strategic freebie. Right. So those are the two type of lead magnets I love to run. Awesome. Thank you so much. Alrighty. So I think I answered all of your lovely questions. That means I get to eat my salad before my mastermind call. Yes. I so much appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on with me. Oh, wait a second. We have another one. How long would you take the lead magnet PDF? How many pages? How many minutes if a video? I don't do videos as lead magnets. If I base a lead magnet on a video, I will strip the transcript and I will create a resource based on it, right? So I would, for example, come here and I would say, get the transcript and then say, Claude, create a membership launch workbook based on this. And if it takes you longer than an hour to create it, you probably are not focused enough on the simple big idea. And you probably need to take a step back and create something quicker. Also because you need to be able to iterate quicker. This might actually be something that I can work out as a nice resource for you guys, right? So this workbook is based on this journey, gain clarity. So now I would just put this in a Google Doc and make it pretty. I love to do pretty Google Docs. Shout out to Jo Schoenmaker. She has like the best SLO for it, teaching you how to make pretty Google Docs. But, I would then just throw it in a Google Doc, make it pretty. It's based on my actual experience. So that's maybe one thing. You can create strategic freebies extremely quickly if they're just based on your genuine experience, because then you just ramble out your genuine experience record yourself with Loom, and then you take the transcript and you process it into a 1-page character type of offer, right? So this is still working here. And then what I would typically do before I take it into a workbook is that I will record myself with Loom going through this and feedbacking it, right? So for example, I would say, I didn't mention blog post, please don't make anything up, remove this section, write this differently, right? So I would now go through, you need to start it like outside of Claude, but I would now go through. I would say, okay, 0 to 1K membership launch workbook, launch your online community from scratch using 8 proven steps. That's fine. Introduction. This is based on a proven system. Don't say proven system. Say this is based on my personal journey of starting this membership. Please research in the video. We don't need to overhype this. Follow these steps systematically to build your own profitable community. No implied earning claims. We don't need to sell them on anything. We just need to teach them what we did and help them map it out for themselves. Key success metrics. No need to repeat it. I can deliver this with the video. Just go directly into the clarity. Step 1, gain clarity, vision, time investment. So they don't necessarily need to invest 1 month. That's just from me. So write it just from my perspective and then write out the steps for them, right? So, and this is how I would basically go through the whole thing that it created. And then I would feed it back the transcript. And then it can rewrite it. But if it takes you longer than an hour, you're not making it experience based enough, and you're not making one product character freebie. Or at least 1 hour to have the raw form. You can still lay out it, but also don't spend like 3 days layouting stuff anymore, please. You can put it into Gamma. You can just lay out the Google Doc. Again, going back to kind of also the example with Ruben, like deploy your time where you actually get a big lever. And you've seen even on my account with the school dashboard, right, which is super valuable. Like I only have this freebie because we used it to win the school games. Right, when I played, I actually played the first school games. We did 81,000 in new monthly recurring revenue. So we created all of these resources as bonuses during the games. This is why I had the strategic freebie. First off, it was not my best performing freebie from a cost. And then you can see how much work this is. And out of the 50% of people that even opened the email, right? So for every 100 people that gave me their email address, only 54 people opened it. And out of the 54 people that opened it, only 24% clicked on it even, right? So your time is, sorry, this is here. Your time is not well deployed in you over engineering a strategic freebie. Your time is super well deployed in you making a complete, utterly no-brainer, super over-delivering value self-liquidating offer, right? So if you look at this, for $9, they get 73 digital products that are super ultra rich. Like it's not quick products. These are massive, resources, because this is where they are a customer. So they are much more likely to actually use the thing, although you would be shocked how few people actually open the self-liquidating offers that they purchase. But this is about setting the tone for the relationship and creating an upgrade environment, right? So these two are drastically different. The freebie is one-pager, super quick, easy to understand, very consumable, quick value, experience-based. And your self-liquidating offer is extremely rich, extremely helpful, so that you start the relationship on the right foot. So I just want to show you, I've poured a month of love and thought into this self-liquidating offer for my new community, which is the School of Will, which is basically a full online course. I don't know how else to describe it, right? Where they're getting this tangible tool, which is a Google Sheet, where it starts with them basically analyzing their latest willpower breakdown comes with a video of exactly how they can do this super quickly with ChatGPT. ChatGPT will give them the feedback and say, okay, based on what happened there, you are lacking these specific skills. Go in here, right, and open up the skills. So, for example, you're lacking pre-commitment, and you don't know how to urge serve, and you also don't know how to you don't have shame resilience. Okay, now I can go in and I can open my skill sheet, and I can watch the training video with it, right? Which is long, and all of these are around 7 minutes. And then I can also do this exercise, this printable exercise. So if you're looking at this, these are 22 videos with 22 skills sheets with 22 additional worksheet exercises, right? And it's going to be a $9 product. So on the self-liquidating offer, and it's extremely helpful because they get a win from this so quickly, right? Because typically our willpower breakdowns, it is micro skills that we're missing, which is why we keep repeating the same flaw. But with that, you can have a win so extremely quickly that people are like, wow, right? So they really, really flash by that. So that's what you want to do for a self-liquidating offer. You want to completely blow their mind. It's very, very different. Your freebie would be this. This would be your freebie, and your self-liquidating offers all the rest. Okay? That's how you anchor the type of quality they will get in an ongoing customer client relationship with you. Hope I explained that well. Thank you. So, do you recommend waiting on opening a community if you still haven't opened one yet and test several SLO first, then open your community based on the best-selling SLO? Now, here's the thing: when I now started this from scratch, right? So I was pretending no audience. I have to start from scratch. I was not allowed to use any of these resources, and I had to bootstrap this as much as possible to be profitable as quickly as possible, right? And I'm now in that zone after 1.5 months. I did start with building my audience, and when you watch that YouTube video, you will see that I tested different modalities to build my audience, and building the free community happened to be the most affordable one. So I doubled down on that. And I did have a hypothesis for a self-liquidating offer before I created the School of Will, right? Which was this relationship based. Now that I look at it, right, it's like this was way too complicated, but people loved it actually that consumed it, but it's hard to explain, right? So these are relationship based identity blocks, like why you can't up level based on the function, the identity blocks that you have in your relationship. This was not as performing as a self liquidating offer as this one. And why? Because this is born from me listening to them and from me engaging with them. And I already have an idea for the next one based on what problems pop up again and again. And so the more community I have, the more ideas I have for self-liquidating offers that are real killers. And the first time I had a self-liquidating offer that was really clicking, I added $25,000 in monthly recurring revenue in 3 months. So when you have something that really clicks, like it's utterly life-changing, but for you to be able to build that, you need to be super in tune with the audience and with the market. And having a community makes that easier. So I believe building a self-liquidating offer without an audience from your desktop and just running ads to it again is actually the much harder part, and potentially also the more costlier part, because you have to keep testing them. And so instead of keep testing them, first put that budget in having audience and having community so that you basically have a market research lab. And that's how I approached it here and how it turned out. And I'm grateful that it did in this way. Just finished watching my feedback. Thank you so much. I think the social media angle really works. I'm thinking about how to tie it into the motivations of the teenager that take part in the program. Lots of good thoughts. Yeah, we can totally brainstorm about this as well. Is your Grow with Evelyn school open? It says waitlist. It should be open today. Let me see if we have a secret opening today. It's already closed. I can quickly open it for. I just opened it. And we can keep it. If you refresh the page, I'll keep it open till I have finished my mastermind call in the night. Thank you so much. That's just the Dyson era. It's I wish it was me. Um, what's the best? What's the biggest business decision you've ever made? I think there are many. I think maybe still the boldest one was to really build my personal brand and get myself out there. It was the one that I struggled most with because, because of all of the limiting beliefs, because of the fear of visibility. I think that was potentially the most impactful. Everything else, still is kind of manageable, but I think committing to building a personal brand, that was the biggest decision, that had the most impact and that made the biggest difference. Are you using your same email provider, Insta, for your new offer? No, I set up a completely new Facebook page, Instagram profile, new Facebook pixel. Today was the first day where I basically send it to my full email list because I tried to compete in the school games in this quarter, and I tried to win again in the self development category. I have a new high ticket offer that's an entirely different niche, and it would be confusing to run ads, send traffic to my current one. Yeah, if it's completely different, I would potentially just start a new profile. So I have Evelyn Weiss Coaching, which is the business coaching, or consulting mentoring situation, and then I have the Identity Alchemy, which is this new personal development using ChatGPT, which is quite different. Although there is some audience overlap in there. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. I'm gonna try. Although I don't want to raise my price this time, so it's gonna be hard with a $7 community. We'll see. Where are we currently? Yeah, I have to get really creative if I want to make this work. Oh yeah, it's gonna be rough. This is me. We'll see. I'm trying to be creative. All right. Thank you so much, guys. It was beautiful again. I know confidence is really important to both the parents and the teenagers, so that is possibly an angle. I would also try to even think about angles to incorporate some AI topics, etc., in it, because I know that that uncertainty and being able to navigate things and being able to build literacy with those tools, etc., that can really be important for them. So, one thing that I want to add to my community is, but for a little bit smaller kids as well as for adults, is like a AI experiments that they can run to build actually confidence, right? So you can also think of, you are allowed to make a course within your membership that can be an easy way for you to test out an angle without fully committing your membership to it just yet. And just, I have a video coming out that's how to waste 3 years building a membership, and that's talking about this as well. You want to see your membership, your community, as highly moldable, right? So you want to be able to be super flexible with what direction you're taking it in, because you want to be able to move where the market is moving. So that's just some food for thought there. Um, Confidence, but how confidence as a new opportunity? How are you going to do that? All right. That's, I think, all for now. Thank you so much. I don't think we have any more questions. And I see you inside of the community. Thank you so much for having been on with me. Have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon.